Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, this week I want to cover the topic of stroke rate. And there's a great debate about stroke rate between fast stroke rates and slow stroke rates. And if you like, it falls into perhaps even two camps, where you take the total immersion version of swimming, where you take really nice, long, slow strokes, and you take Paul Newsome's Swim Smooth, and he's trying to increase stroke rate at every level. And which of these is necessarily true, and which might you actually benefit from? Well, I'm going to make a statement about stroke rate that you might find surprising, and it's this. In every stroke and in every distance, for you personally, there will be a stroke rate that is right today. And the faster the stroke rate, the faster you will go, with one proviso. You have to be able to hold that stroke rate for the whole of the distance. So obviously if you're doing a 50 metre, your stroke rate is going to be faster than if you're doing a 200 metre, and if you're doing a 400 metre, that's going to be slower still. If you're doing a 1500, it may very well be similar to the 400, but it's still likely to slow down, because that stroke rate you just can't maintain for that length of time. As coaches, it's our job to slowly but surely increase your stroke rate, hopefully without reducing your stroke length. In all the experiments I have ever done, a faster stroke rate has led to a faster time. And I've done lots of experiments with swimmers. So I'm just going to go to the computer and show you exactly what I mean. And this time it's in a backstroke race that was only a couple of weeks ago, where it's a 200 metres, and we're going to take the stroke rates at various points in the race and see if the stroke rate in that length affects the time that the swimmer swam. And we're going to do it with two swimmers, and we're going to go straight to the computer and have a look. So here we are in the start of a backstroke race, and we're interested in this girl right here in lane 1. Now I'm just going to adjust it so that we know we're exactly on the start. So just as she starts to apply pressure to those legs on the blocks. And we're just going to set a clock here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run it for a length, and I'm going to take the stroke rate sometime in that length. Okay, so here we go. Now she's off, you heard that. That was fairly instant, so the time should be fairly accurate. She's up. Now I'm going to click 1, 2, 3. And that gives me a stroke rate of 79.5 strokes a minute. I'm going to stop it as she hits the wall with her feet. There we go, 18:37 is the time she took for that length. Now if I continue and we set another stopwatch on there, we're going to get her time for the second length, and I'll take the stroke rate for the second length as well. So she's up, we go 1, I won't take it there, I'll take it in the middle, 0, 1, 2, 3, and there we go, 74.5 strokes a minute. And again I'll stop it as we get to the end. And there we go, her feet are on the wall, and it's 19.73. So we've actually had a drop off of 1.4 seconds in length 1 to length 2, and we've seen a difference in 5 strokes a minute from 79.5 to 74.5. And that's it. So we're just coming to the end of length 3, ready to start length 4. Let's get those feet on the wall, and we'll set a stopwatch. Now we'll take the stroke rate and the time for this particular length. Now this is still fairly fresh. The stroke rate hasn't deteriorated much, we don't think. And we'll go click 1, 2, 3, and we get 72 strokes a minute. So we go doing 72 strokes a minute, and we touch the wall at 20.39. So we've slowed down, and now we're above the 20s, we're in the 20.39, and the stroke rate has slowed again. Now here we are coming into the turn for the 6th length. Now the 6th length is part of the 3rd quartile, and traditionally the 3rd quartile is where the brain tends to disappear a bit, and we tend to get slower times. So we'll see if that's the case. And we'll just hit go. It actually looks a little bit slower, so we'll just check on a click 1, 2, 3, and we get 68 strokes a minute. So we have slowed down again. What's happened to the time? We'll see when her feet hit the wall. There we go, 20.46. So 20.46 is definitely a slowing down, as well as the stroke rate has slowed down. So that's now here we are coming into the turn for the final length. So let's get the feet on the wall. There we go. I think we can safely say the feet are on the wall there. We're going to set a clock, and we're going to take the stroke rate and the time for the length. So if we click 0, 1, 2, 3, she's up to 76 strokes a minute. And she's coming into the finish. So she's picked it up for the final. And there we go, 19.77 seconds. So this is the second swimmer about to start her race. And what we want is to get it so that she's literally just about to leave the blocks when we start our clock. So let's put the clock on and we'll start it. It's slightly shaky a video, I'm afraid. I didn't have the gimbal set up very well here. So we'll take it in a second once it stops shaking. Click, 1, 2, 3. And we've got 80 strokes a minute, and she's into the wall and the feet touch there. So it's 17.5. So we had 80 strokes a minute at 17.5. Now we'll set the second clock up and we'll go for the second length. As I say, the gimbal was just playing up for this one. I don't know why. Sometimes it does that. We'll come back. Click, 1, 2, 3, and we've got 74 strokes a minute. And again, we're coming into the wall. And that effectively is where she hits it, which is 19.3. So we've got a stroke rate of 74, which is a reduction of 6 strokes a minute, and we've increased the time by about 1.8 seconds. Okay, so we're going to do the third quartile. Here is the swimmer just coming into length 5 turns. So we get the feet on the wall. Let's get a stopwatch up and let's time that length. Notice the gimbal's much better now. It's reacting kinder. We go click, 1, 2, 3, and we've got 68 strokes a minute. So that really has slowed, and as the feet come in, there we go, 20.63. So we've slowed to 68 strokes a minute, and we've gone down to 20.63, which is from length 2 another 1.3 second decline. So here's this swimmer coming into the final turn. So we're going into length 8, and we'll just get those feet on the wall, and we'll set up a clock. Once we've set up a clock, we'll set it going, and we'll take the stroke rate here. Click, 1, 2, 3, and it's 69 strokes a minute, so that's gone slightly higher. And she's coming into the wall with a flourish, and we'll just time it where she touches. I think that's just about where she touches, so 20.23. So we had 69 strokes a minute and 20.23, and when we had 66.5 strokes a minute, we had 20.5. So again, we're seeing a correlation between stroke rate and actual speed. And that's so what can we learn from that? Well, I think it's worth looking at those figures again, just to get it into our minds what's actually happening. So looking again at the figures, remember for swimmer 1 and 2, looking at length, stroke rate and time. And every time the stroke rate went down, the time went up. And when in the final length the stroke rate went up, the time went down. And exactly the same thing happened with swimmer 2. We're looking at length, stroke rate and time. And 80 at 17.5, 74 19.3, and then 66 20.5. And each time, again, with the last 69 instead of 66, we see a reduction in time, even though the swimmer must have been more tired, obviously on the last length than the sixth length. So there you can see, every single time stroke rate reduced, the time went up for the length. Now that's not a completely scientific study, But you can see stroke rate is definitely related to speed. So if you want to speed up, once you've got your stroke reasonably efficient, you should then start concentrating on stroke rate and trying to build the stroke rate up and up and up whilst maintaining your good stroke. If your stroke disappears, certainly on long distance events, you're going to suffer for time, whatever your stroke rate. So the aim of all coaches and all swimmers is to maintain your stroke length, maintain your form, whilst increasing your stroke rate. If one of those goes, likely as not, you're not going to get the results you want. I will continue to do experiments with stroke rate with my swimmers, and that's in every single stroke. Remember, every single stroke, every single distance for an individual swimmer will have a different stroke rate that is right for them today. Our job is to make sure that stroke rate can increase over time without negatively affecting their stroke, and we will make faster swimmers that way. Okay, so that's something for you to think about in your swimming. Can you use something like a tempo trainer, which just goes click, 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 to try and increase your stroke rate and slowly but surely get faster and faster? It's daunting at first to think about increasing your stroke rate, but it really will help you maintain a faster pace throughout your races. Alright, thanks very much indeed. Next week, something completely different. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you have, like and subscribe and click that bell if you want notifications when we upload a video. Thanks very much for watching. See you next week.